rather than cleaning my desk, I look at each little piece of all of this. I could just sweep it into the trash, but I study each one of these little pieces. Well, I'm lying. I'm not studying each one, but I'm looking. I pick up a piece like this and I think, can I turn this into something? I think I can throw this piece away. What do you think? I'll set it right there. That's in limbo. This one is another one that could be in limbo, but by putting both of these things together, maybe I have the start of something. It's going to be big. It's going to be big and huge. It's going to be a hit. But anyway, for example, these two things were the inside of two large tractor wheels. Well, they're almost circles. And these little letters from some box can be the hubs of something. So we've got the start of something. There we go. And here we go. 2. So now I've got part of a car or a tractor or a something. Now these have little stripes on them. I could make the whole thing be striped, but I think it's too light. These are good for highlights rather than for actual full, what's the word I want, Pierre? Structures. I think that works better for a better as accent. Okay, so I've got these pieces of black. This is the same black that went into the wheels, though, so I think I may want to save those for something else. How about red? Should we make this a red thing? Let's make it a red thing. There was some ugly grime on this one I'm cutting off. And I've got some red here. I think I need to, I'm not looking at anything. I'm not really thinking of anything either, which maybe is a mistake. Maybe I should be looking and thinking things. But let's just continue to glue for the moment. Yesterday's project began at the top of the structure I was building and moved down toward the bottom. And when I got to the bottom, I realized I didn't have enough room for what I was working on. So here I'm starting at the bottom and working my way up. See if I don't run into that. So now it looks sort of like a little scooter, doesn't it? Yes, it does, Pierre. It's amazing what that looks like. It looks like a little scooter. Yeah, I know. I thought so. So maybe I'll make this into a little scooter. So here's the front fork. There's some nasty schmutz all over the front of this. There, look at that. It's a little scooter. I'm almost done with it. Then you can click on Add to Shopping Cart. I think I need a little steering wheel or something on the top, though. I think I'm going to put that square there. Sort of to imply the control panel. That little seat looks uncomfortable, but we'll just leave that there. Or should I cover that up? Should I make that be a real seat? What do we think? Are we done? Do we call that a day? That really does sort of bother me, but I think I'm just going to leave it. I'll let it bother me. I need that tension in my art. I still need something up here to sort of represent a handlebar. A friend of mine in my building made a beautiful drawing of a highway interchange and cloverleaf interchange, and it was really amazing. And I suggested to him that he and I put together a show. Well, I actually suggested he put together a show, but I don't know whether he wants to do that, of planes, trains, and automobiles, some transportation kind of a show. And this will be part of that, maybe, if I end up convincing him to move ahead with that plan. I have a love-hate relationship with cars. No, that's not true. I have a hate-hate relationship with cars. I really don't care about them. I never really have. I just find them I don't have the car gene in me. And I'm learning, though, now about different kinds of cars, because when I take not an Uber, a Lyft, I end up having to, this is a broken Segway, a Segway that was involved in a crash. When I call Lyft to get a lift, get a ride, they say Bettina will be arriving in a gray Subaru. Well, I don't know what a Subaru looks like, to save my life, but so I look for the license plate number and stuff. But I'm learning what Subarus look like, and I don't really like the fact that I'm learning that information. That could be saved for some other factoid that's important. Like, what would be a factoid that I actually would want to learn? See, now you're asking me to come up with something, but I can't. Here we go. This is a unicycle. I don't know what this is. This may turn into something. This could be the trailer that this thing is pulling. Now you're wondering, I can hear you typing this out. Pierre, why didn't you just sweep it all up and throw it away? Yeah, you can type that in. Type. And then you'll get people saying, don't be so mean to Pierre. Don't pick on him. Is that what you're saying? What I do need to make today, or not today, but soon, and what I will be making later today, is my design for a show that's coming up next in the gallery here, which will be 3 tall cranes, red cranes on their little girder things. And so I'll be cutting out hundreds of things out of red cardboard that look like this, that represent the zigzag girders. So I'm practicing. What is this going to be? As part of a profile, we have a nose and a mouth. Now we have a nose, and he's sticking his tongue out. Well, I'm going to glue this together right there, and we're going to just let it sit and percolate in my little head to see what this could turn into. The last time I did this, these things turned into Art Deco smoke, which was not planned, and but it turned out rather nicely, I thought, my Art Deco smoke. So maybe this will turn out nicely as well, or not. Sometimes when I do things like this, they just doesn't turn out to be anything. I've never been very good at abstract stuff. I work better when I'm looking at a real thing, and then I can abstract that. I can take a real thing and turn it into an abstraction, which I guess is what abstraction is to take something real and abstracting it. It's different from non-representational art, which is to make something that absolutely had no subject matter whatsoever. I mean, no visible subject matter. This looks like the roadmap to Union Square. This is what I have to do if I was driving a car to get to the grocery store. You have to go left, right, and then make a sharp left and sharp right, and then you get there. The road systems in Boston were designed by cows originally. The cow tracks became the roads. But why, I ask you, why, once automobiles were invented, and why they continued to make stupid roads? So anyway, who knows what this is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be, but I do absolutely positively know that it needs this piece glued on to some part of it. Right there. There. Perfect. No, I still don't know what it's going to be, but I'll figure it out. Or not. In my diorama, maybe this will represent the public art that was designed to be commissioned to be put in the center of the new town square. Okay, what is this going to be? Can I turn this into something? No, leave that be. What about this? Sometimes there are things that I think I can actually throw away. This might be one of them. Oops. It's falling apart right in front of my very eyes. This is going to weigh on me. This I will be thinking about all day and have nightmares at night about it if I don't figure out what to do with it. I know, I can hear you typing. throw it away. There's a friend of mine who doesn't understand me, who thinks I'm from another planet. What planet are you from? He would be typing that right now. Throw it away. Anyone can throw it away. I could tell him. Oops. Anyone can do that. That's easy. We choose to make... I don't know. I'm just going to say we choose to make this into... I needed to have this be named in order to finish that sentence. We choose to make a blank. Fill in the blank. Not because it is easy, but because it is hard. So maybe by the end of this decade, this will be done safely. It does kind of look like the map of my neighborhood. Do we need to add a little bit of color, a little tiny bit of color? No, we'll leave it like this for the moment. So I've done a scooter. I've done a broken Segway, unicycle, and a thing. Maybe I was channeling whatever this means, making a geometric version of that. You know, General Gao's chicken or steamed fried rice or whatever that says. I don't know. What do we think? This isn't speaking to me like this Art Deco smoke. The Art Deco smoke, though, I did not know was going to be smoke until hours after I had made it. So I do feel that in the fullness of time, by the end of the decade, I will know what this means. So I have until 2030 to figure this out. I'll get it done before then, I'm sure. By the end of the day, well, maybe not by the end of the day. Okay, let's just do one more thing. It's only been 18 minutes. Oh, there's another wheel. I can make my Segway into a... Here, now it's a tricycle. Or does it go this way? I have to make the wheel smaller. There, I'm done. Kinda. I don't know where the front is, if it's going this way or that way. Depends on... I think I need to add one more thing. I'm not sure whether this... this is in the front or the back. But I think that's what it was. That's what it needed, was that extra bit. Come on. There. What do you think? kind of the tail light. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I've arrived. Tack lead. Who would have thought that in France, whatever you would use would sound so beautiful? Pour usage domestique seulement. For household use only. Or pour usage domestique seulement. Seulement. Those French. Beautiful language, most of it. Not as nice as Italian, but France has those sort of swallowed vowels every once in a while. E-U-X. It's not just, it's sort of like you're being choked to death. A friend of mine used to live in the building. His name was Andrew. And he didn't want his name to be Andrew, and he didn't want Andy. So he went by Drew for most of the time I knew him. And then he went to California. And in California, of course, or not of course, but in California, this would not have happened in Boston, we'll just put it that way. In California, he had his name legally changed to be spelled D-R-E-U-X, I think. There might have been an I, D-R-I-E-U-X. And I said, oh, so your name is like, God, can you make it any uglier? He thought it would be just a fancy way of spelling Drew. Well, that's not how anyone that would have seen that spelled out, they would have called you. Come in for dinner. Like you can't even finish the word. But pour usage domestique seulement. That sounds pretty nice. But doesn't. You're choking on your own petard. Okay, let me, I'm making a white version of this thing. And again, who knows what these are going to be. If I put little round things on the bottom, they can be wheels of some sort of vehicle. I occasionally watch these forensic file things on YouTube, and I love when the police refer to the car as a vehicle, but they don't, it's not a vehicle, it's a vehicle. There's a hic thrown in there. Not a hic, like from that sometimes a hic is involved in the homicide, usually as the stupid perpetrator that figured that they could get away with murder. But vehicular homicide. Okay, let's see if I can interweave these pieces. There we go. And there we go. That was a complicated move here. But I wanted it to be just not on top. I wanted it to have that interwoven drama. So if I put a wheel here and a wheel here, it's not really a wheel, is it? Back in the Iron Age, when someone came out of their cave and said, "Look, I invented the wheel," and came out with a triangle, I'm sure that they were probably eaten for dinner that night for being so stupid. Okay. Speaking of ASMR, some people think, no, I don't mean to say that. I don't have the ASMR gene. I don't get that brain orgasm or whatever is supposed to be happening. But some people, I'm using my prehensile lips to hold this thing in my mouth while I use my two hands to glue this. Some people find my YouTube voice to be to result in that sort of ASMR orgasm. Now, can someone, I mean, I have looked it up online to see how it works, but I don't know whether I believe it. I know that I do have a love of sounds, repetitive sounds especially. I love the sound of one of my neighbors is a letterpress guy, and when I go down to visit him and his machines are running, just the ka-ching, 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 ka-chug, ka-chug, the clicking of the gears and the sound of the paper being, moved from one area of the machine to the other, and the print coming down, and it sounds in one case like there's a little steam thing happening, and I don't remember now whether there is or not, but there's something that sounds kind of like steam. It is this psst. I think it actually is a, now that I'm thinking about it, it is a piece of, the paper is held in place by a little suction that happens, and the air escaping after that part of the process is completed has this little psst sound, and it's really very pleasant and relaxing. I used to have a studio above this store or company. It wasn't a store. Company called the Advanced Folding Box Company in Boston, Massachusetts. And it was a machine that was about the size of it was about twice the size of a car. Not as fat as a car, but twice as long and maybe three-quarters as wide, and about as tall as a car is. And it was something that would take a flat piece of paper, cut the holes, the slits that it would need to make a box, and impress the lines, score the cardboard so it would fold, and I guess it folded the box as well, which seems like a really stupid idea because it would fill up pretty quickly. It probably just made the foldable boxes, and they may have actually, I don't think this is true, but they may have actually printed the box as well. With this end is up and cut here, and you know, the logo of the company printed on it as well, but I don't think so. I don't remember the smell of ink. But anyway, the point of my story, my little run-on sentence here, is that the sound that it made was really, really neat, and it also vibrated the whole building, and it was really, I very easily imagined I was on a freighter going across the Atlantic, because it sort of had that sound of a big ship engine, and it vibrated just like it would if you were on a ship. And of course, South Boston at the time had lots of seagulls, so you could hear them in the background. So the effect was quite good. I loved that sound. Repetitive, deep, throbbing noise. And that made me smile. But I didn't get a brain orgasm out of it. So, does my voice give you a brain orgasm? Write it down in your comments below. Well, I'm going to leave this the way it is. So I've got two of these things now. Two public art pieces for my little diorama. And what I could have done is thrown it all away. But now look what I've done. I've made this, and this, and this, and this. What have you done in 32 minutes and 19 seconds?